There's nothing more frustrating than being a one-person kind of person in a world that glamorizes hookup culture and always looking for the next best thing. I was born in the wrong decade.
I love how hookup culture only becomes a problem when you can't seem to land a man. Guys, you ever notice how girls who are in their early 20s, the girls who are having their hot girl summer, as it were, they're never the ones complaining about hookup culture because they're the ones getting all of the attention, all of the validation. But when it comes time, when the big 3-0 comes knocking on the door, that's when a lot of these girls want relationships, they want quote-unquote real men, and then they get frustrated when they can't lock down the men that they actually want. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again with another response video, and on today's episode, guys, we are going to be showcasing women getting frustrated when they can't land a relationship. Now, obviously, guys, the title is a little bit clickbait here because women can secure relationships. I don't care if she's going into her 30s. I don't care if she is 55 years of age. Most women, you know, barring any sort of disfigurement or anything like that, are going to have options with men. Okay, what it really comes down to is they feel as though they are above certain men. They feel as though they are out of the league of certain men, and that's why a lot of these girls are single. These girls are not single because of some man shortage. They're not single because men need to step up. They are single by volition of their own standards, gentlemen. So without further ado, we're going to be jumping into this first clip here that we saw at the start of today's video, and then I've got another clip as well as a Reddit story to show you guys. And gentlemen, when I say that this stuff is hilarious, I truly do mean it, because this girl is literally complaining about the exact same thing that she herself engages in and has engaged in. So let's take a listen.
There's nothing more frustrating than being a one-person kind of person.
Okay, I've got to say this right off the bat, guys. The piano music, it gets me every time, right? Because let's think about this for a second. What is the piano music here for, guys? It's to make us empathize. It's to make us sit here and go, you know, maybe they're right. Maybe these, you know, maybe she does have it difficult. But my question is this. If you are a one-person kind of person, if you are a monogamous woman, then where exactly is your boyfriend? You're not monogamous. You're not a one-person kind of person because you have had a series of failed relationships or a series of hookups or whatever the case may be. Now, I can totally understand, guys, okay? Now, I don't know this woman too well. If she has been married for the last 15 years and I, for some reason, don't know about it, and her age is different to what it appears for me, fair enough. I'm in the wrong, right? And the dude, like, you know, left through unfortunate circumstances, I can totally understand. But don't sit here and say that you're a one-person kind of person when you have more than one man in your past, because it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. But let's keep going with the piano music here. I'm tearing up.
In a world that glamorizes hookup culture and always looking for the next best thing.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Glamorizing hookup culture. You understand, first of all, that you don't have to participate in hookup culture. This is the funniest thing about these videos, guys, to me, okay? Is you'll always notice it's the girls who are going into their 30s that have these issues. Okay, these issues aren't really occurring for women when they're in their party years. Like, yeah, you'll hear some girls complain here or there, okay, about that one chat that they really want. But where it starts to become a real issue, and when we hear, you know, the womanism word pop up, these girls can't even spell womanism before they're in before they're going up to their 30s, guys. Why? Because the attention is on them. The validation is on them. The older guys, you know, the guys who are more quote-unquote mature, the more resources, the guys who have, you know, made their bodies look good, stuff like this, they've been hitting the gym. These men are paying attention to those women when they're in their early 20s. But as we start to get 26, 27, 28, that's when we start to have conversations like this, where we start to say, oh, I'm a one-person kind of person. You're not a one-person kind of person. Okay, if you were, you would be married by now. Okay, now, fair enough, if this woman is married and I don't know about it, okay, but odds are she isn't. And if she has been married and she's not now, where exactly is the husband? Let's keep going. Okay, she says, I was born in the wrong decade, or whatever the case may be. You gotta just love, guys, the clear lack of understanding as to how she fits into this. Because I would guarantee, guys, that she has men in her DMs, or she has had many men in her DMs at the very least, who would be willing to have a relationship with her. But here we are, guys, with the infamous sitting in the car complaining TikTok. Now, speaking of sitting in the car complaining, guys, welcome to our second video here. And these always just seem to be the best for content, don't they? Like, it's always someone sitting in their car. It's like, I feel like a lot of these girls, they feel as though they're able to let the crazy out in the car. Okay, so let's take a listen to what this woman has to say. Now, before we jump into it, this video, I'm looking at the amount of likes it has on it. It has 121.1 thousand likes on it. It has over 1,000 comments and over 2,000 shares. So apparently a lot of girls are relating to this issue. Now, it has the hashtag on it, hashtag hookup culture and hashtag I hate this. So here we have someone who's quite disenfranchised with the whole hookup culture problem that we have going on. So let's take a listen.
I'm so weird. I had this fantasy in my head that dating apps, you know, were for people looking for like a relationship or something. The amount of times I've been like, no, I don't want to do that. And then they're just like, well, then why were you on this dating app? Stupid me. I wanted a boyfriend. Isn't that so dumb and so stupid?
Yeah, it kind of is, okay? But here's the other thing. There are lots of men who would be willing to have a relationship with you on these applications, right? The problem is, what you're doing is you're going for the top percentage of men. We all know this, okay? You're chasing the very attractive men on the app. Now, what's going to happen is if you're chasing those very, very attractive men, you're only going for the top 5%. Like, guys, I swear, the statistics on this are so bad. Women are so incredibly guilty of this. If you look at girls' swiping habits, right, there was like a study that was done on this, man, where they took how often the average woman would swipe on a man, and they compared it to how often a man would swipe on a woman, and it was night and day. Okay, so when you're only swiping on a very small percentage of men, guess what? There are other men, there are other women who are also swiping on that exact same man. So you're going to be 1 in 30 women who are competing for the same guy. Now, the question becomes, why would that man ever commit to you? Okay, now I have no issue with this, guys. If girls want to all go chase the same group of dudes, I personally could not care less. It is their life, guys. They can make all the stupid decisions that they want to. No skin off of my back. Personally, I just find it absolutely hilarious when we get to the complaining. Like, that is the funniest thing, guys, to me, is when girls come around, they make these car videos, and they're like, man, I just don't understand. I'm just so frustrated. And literally in her, in the text in this video, guys, she says, dating apps, ? More like, now I need therapy. Okay, so rather than give any of the guys who you would consider, you know, not super attractive a chance, what happens is she'll go for the top percentage dudes, the dudes who are highly attractive, and then complain when they don't want a relationship. Okay, and here's the fantastic part, guys. This is something that'll never really truly get through to a lot of these girls. If you're going to compete for a top percentage guy, you have to actually consider, I get this, right? You have to actually consider what the man wants. Now, this goes totally against womanism, guys, because, you know, never do anything for a man. You're a boss, babe. You're a queen. You are strong and independent. You don't need no man. Do nothing for a man, etc. But the problem is, if you do nothing for a man, if you don't like men, you're going to lose in that competition to other women, because he's going to go with someone who is a lot more pleasant. He's going to go with someone who's not posting all over TikTok, and he's going to go with that girl who actually makes his life easier as opposed to harder. Let's give it one more run through, guys, and then we'll jump into today's Reddit story. Let's take a listen. If I can click the right button.
I'm so weird. I had this fantasy in my head that dating apps, you know, were for people looking for like a relationship or something.
Again, plenty of men on those applications looking for relationships. They're just not the men that you want.
Times I've been like, no, I don't want to do that. And then they're just like, well, then why were you on this dating app? Stupid me. I wanted a boyfriend. Isn't that so dumb and so stupid?
Yes. And when you go out there and you meet up with these dudes, okay, these attractive men on these dating applications who ask, hey, do you want to hang out? Do you want to grab some drinks over at my place? Do you think that they're inviting you over to get to know you? They're not inviting you over so that they can have some sort of deep conversation about your goals and aspirations in life. The dudes at the top of the dating game, they do not care. Okay, they truly do not care about these things. Dudes who have options, right? Their thought process is, what's the point of building a connection with this girl? I have Stacy over here, I have Madeline over here. What exactly is the point? So the fact that this girl gets shocked, and I don't know how old this woman is, I'm gonna guess like mid-20s or something, or I don't even know half the time with the makeup and the filters, guys, but you know, this girl should understand, but she doesn't. So what's she going to do? She's going to continue to go make the same mistake and then cry and complain that it's men's fault or it's the dating application's fault, right? Rather than actually accept that there are good men out there who would be willing to have a relationship. But as I make this content, guys, every single day, the amount of good men, the amount of guys who are actually interested in dating these women just decreases over and over again. Yes, there's always going to be some simp out there who's ready and willing to have a relationship, but, you know, there are more and more dudes that are just not interested. Now, speaking of not interested, guys, let's jump into today's Reddit story. This is an absolute banger. Okay, so I pulled this up, and I haven't read it in a hot minute, so I'm kind of forgetting the details here, but I remember when I was reading this, I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So let's take a listen. This is a bit of a longer one, and this is posted 9 days ago in Dating Over 30. Absolutely fantastic subreddit for content. If you guys ever want to see just like the absolute cesspit that is modern day dating, literally go to any of these subreddits where it just has dating in the title. Dating over 30, dating over 40, dating advice, and hashtag you know, r/dating, any of these things, and you'll just see an absolute cesspit. So let's jump in here. So this is, of course, written by a woman who is dating over 30 years of age, and the title reads, "Going through something really difficult with my former hookup that has me wonder about all the potential we lost. How do you grieve that?" Now, given that there's so much in this story, I'm just going to start reading through it. I'm a 31-year-old female, and the guy is a 33-year-old male. We were seeing each other for about 6 months, and by seeing, I mean it was purely casual. The caveat is that during times we spent together, we'd spend hours talking too, so we developed an emotional intimacy. I come from an A-word child past, and so I don't feel safe physically or emotionally in a lot of relationships, even platonic ones. But I always did with him. Some of my closest friends don't even know some of the things about me that he does, and I felt that the safety and vulnerability with any other guy I've dated, she hasn't felt those things, excuse me. And it wasn't just on my side. He was very open with me too, but we agreed to keep it casual, and he wasn't always the most respectful to me. So this woman is saying that she's highly attracted to the guy. They agreed that it's purely casual, and yet the dude disrespects her and treats her like crap apparently, but she feels safe with him. Make that make sense, guys. Isn't that the beautiful thing? We have a girl here who, you know, really is a professional side chick, okay? And she feels safe with the guy, despite the fact that he continually disrespects her in her own words. Let's keep going. So he keeps standing her up. He keeps lying to her, texting other girls when she was with him. He was never mean to me, but he was mean to me. And I know that, and I'm in therapy to heal that part of me that allows for the mistreatment, so I digress. Look at this. This woman literally gets disrespected by the guy lies to her, he stands her up and everything, but she feels physically and emotionally safe with this man. Interesting how that works. Let's keep going. Anyway, maybe about 3 weeks ago, he ended things with me because he had recently started seeing someone who he had a quote-unquote genuine interest for, and I was totally taken aback because his fallback for every time he disrespected me was because he quote-unquote wasn't ready for a relationship. I later learned that this new girl wasn't even real, and he is in fact still meeting and dating other women. But again, I digress. Point is, he never really treated me well, but I let it go and started to move on, knowing that I was better off. So you're complaining about being mistreated insofar as this guy is going out here, he's exploring his options with other women, despite the fact that you two both agreed that it was casual. Okay, you both agreed that it was casual, but you have a problem with him going out and talking with other women. And guys, this is just absolutely amazing. You see a lot of girls who are in this situation, who are side chicks, and then they're complaining when they can't land relationships, even though it was agreed upon that perhaps it was casual, or even though the dude clearly is not interested. But of course, they waste months of their lives, years of their lives chasing the same guy. And the amazing part about these situations, guys, and something that's really painful for a lot of guys to learn, is that when women are chasing men like this, the chasing continues through relationships. So this woman, or you know, a lot of other girls will go through, they'll be hooked on this one guy that they really want to have a relationship with. They will understand that he's not going to commit to her, and she'll say, oh, I'll start to move on. Now, what does this mean? She's going to go out there. She's potentially going to get a relationship with another guy. All the while, she still wants this man. Okay, I see so many men in relationships where their girl doesn't even really like them because she's still hooked on some previous guy. And the guy thinks that he's somehow lucky for having her. Me personally, guys, I view that as disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Let's keep going. 2 weeks after he ended things, about 10 days ago, I found out I was pregnant with his baby. I had zero doubts it was him, and I told him. We were on the same page immediately that I wouldn't see this pregnancy through, as neither of us could go through this or want children at this time. I didn't know what to expect. Kind of just expected me to offer to pay for it, and that was it. But he was surprisingly immediately very supportive, offering to come with me to the appointment, telling me that if I needed to see him or talk to him at any time, he was on standby. I declined at first, thinking this was becoming something that I could handle on my own. So she thought she could handle it on her own. She's gone her whole life going through things alone, but I slowly realized I couldn't do it on my own, and that this was something I struggled mentioning to anyone, and only had him to turn to. He too wasn't telling anyone, and so we kind of understood that we needed each other as we would need a friend through this. So basically the guy does not want to have a kid with you. The reason why he's coming to see this through, and the reason why he's being so supportive, is because he doesn't want a kid with you. How do I know that the man does not want a kid with you? One, because he doesn't want a relationship with you. Absolutely not. The guy is clearly not interested in having a relationship. But let's continue with the story. My appointment is not until this Thursday. That was the earliest I could get, but during this time I have become so grateful to him. I try not to burden him too much and try to carry this on my own, partly because I don't want to get reattached, but he has done and said all the right things anyway. Last Wednesday I just needed to sit with someone and cry. He took his lunch break to sit with me and talk about things, about how he's doing, about non-important things. So basically he's emotionally validating the woman because he doesn't want to have the kid. Let's keep going. He tells me over and over not to worry about bothering him or being needy. He tells me where he's going to be at any time in case I need to call him, and he won't be by his phone. We aren't together. We never actually dated. And not even a month ago, I would have told anyone how little he thought of me. And yet here he is being more than I could have ever asked for of him or anyone. I have a lot of complicated emotions about Thursday, but one of them is this deep sadness that I'm going to go back to life without him. So in other words, she's considering using the kid as emotional leverage over the guy. It makes her sad that she knows that if she knows that the dude is as good as gone after this is over. At the end of the day, isn't this what we were really searching for? Yeah, you want good bedroom fun and fun times, but isn't the point of finding a life partner so that you never have to go through this life alone? And the hard part, the part you might not find out until years into the relationship, is finding someone that you can not only trust to be there, but will be there when it matters, to communicate, to listen, to sacrifice, to center. Oh my, jeez, man. This woman's just like, thinks that she's like a poet or something. And we make a really good team. I'm just skipping this garbage. It's that realization that God, he sucked to try and date, but as a partner, I couldn't ask for anything more. And that makes me sad that we never gave it a shot. In other words, it made me sad because the guy didn't want to commit to me. It makes me sad that I didn't get to have a relationship with this guy. And this is the position that many, many women are in, guys. They can have the dude casually. They can have the, you know, the bedroom fun, the other experiences, whatever the case may be, like everything. They get the girlfriend treatment, but the problem is they cannot actually be the girlfriend. And when I say girlfriend treatment, a lot of the time, actually, I shouldn't even say that. Like, they're not getting dates. They're not getting a whole lot of romance or anything like that. But then they just, you know, guys, they wish that they were able to take a shot at the relationship. Hilarious stuff here. I have no illusions that will remain in each other's lives, not as friends, not as lovers. I'm sure in his mind he's just being kind and doing the right thing, but I feel so lucky to have had him by my side. Let's continue past this paragraph. Has anyone else been through something like this? where something convinces you that you could have landed this thing if only you've gotten it into the air. How do you let go of that? It's so hard to grieve potential, and that's what sucks the most about casual relationships slash situationships is you never tried. It's easier to let go though when you finally realize and accept it was only ever fantasy about what life could be like with them. But I've never had to grieve one when you both successfully and easily manage one of the most difficult parts of relationships, of a relationship, so you actually get to see what could have been, blah 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 blah. You know, shout out to this woman for at least understanding the part here that she's grieving a fantasy, right? Because a lot of girls would say, oh, but no, it's reality. One day I'll get him. What, you know, one day this is going to happen. And then they end up chasing the guy, the quote-unquote bad boy, the emotionally unavailable dude for years at a time. And I don't think, by the way, this is like a misconception I think a lot of people have, is I don't think that these dudes are necessarily bad. Like, not this guy in particular, but, you know, the guys who are at the top of dating, right? People will always say, oh, he's an a-hole, or girls will complain like he's a narcissist, or this or that, he's this, he's that. But the issue really is, the reason why a lot of the girls are frustrated is not because he's mean, not because he's awful, but because she can't get what she wants out of him, and that's why he's an a-hole. Not because he's actually an a-hole in a lot of these situations. Too long didn't read. Former hookup and I are pregnant, and he has been the most supportive and trusting person in my life during this time above and beyond what I could have asked. We are making a great team going through what's one of the most difficult things that we've had to do. At the end of the day, he's all I could have asked for. How do you grieve that kind of potential where you see how well you two could have worked together to get through the rough parts and what actually could have been, but didn't ever, because of him, have a chance to try? So of course she wanted the relationship, but he never gave her one. Guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, guys, remember to leave your thoughts and your comments. Bit of a complicated story here of a girl who's a professional side chick, and she's basically frustrated that she can't land a relationship with this particular guy. Guys, don't forget to leave your thoughts in your comments. Make sure to subscribe to our other content creators linked in the video description, Hadan from Peace of Mind and Detective Warg. And without further ado, guys, we were going to be leaving it there, so make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.